Donald Trump was down at the border, and it was Hannity that interviewed him. And I gotta say, this is some rough lighting for his pores. I don't know whether it's sweat, because okay, sometimes, full disclosure, as a man who's worn makeup for work quite often, there's a thing where you're wearing they pat you down with powder and that kind of stuff, and they don't like kind of seal it that right, or they have a powder that's too clumpy, and you sweat, and then it just basically congeals in your pores and creates this kind of like bumpy pock look. Now, if your skin's okay, it doesn't really stand out. It just doesn't look optimal. But if you have gnarly skin, it looks like it's gross. It's fucking gross. It's really gross. And I gotta like, just like the woof. You think everybody's like, no, that's just his face. All right, maybe so. But this is him on Hannity talking about the border and how Biden is losing his mind, because this is the one thing that is freaking Trump out right now.
Welcome back to Hannity. We are broadcasting live tonight from Shelby Park in Eagle Pass. We are in.
Yeah, it's a fucking. I could tell it's a total invasion. Who wouldn't bring the actual like candidate for one party who will do the most about the border down to a place that's it's an invasion. Look behind him. Dear God, they're right in the heart of it. It's unbelievable. All times of the day, people, military age men storming across the border. Would it be I'm just saying, tactically, it seems like a bad idea. I don't know if the Secret Service would sign off on it. If there was actually an invasion, it's right there. I mean, that's another country. There are cartels over there. We know this for a fact. If they just decided to snipe this dumbass, it'd be on you, right? So clearly we have control of both sides of the border, I guess. All right. But or everything they're saying could be bullshit. That's also a possibility. I'm just going to float that as well. That he knows he has nothing to be afraid of, because
the state of Texas, the free state of Texas. Still with us for an exclusive interview is former President Donald J. Trump. We've talked a lot about the border, the #1 issue. Let me move on to some other issues.
Mm-hmm. So apparently that part of the border is not an issue over here. This business over here. Good Lord. I mean, I can't hear you over the sound of the stampeding hordes of military-aged men.
Probably more than anybody else, I picked up that Joe Biden, this is before the 2020 election, is weak and...
Oh, this is Hannity's been hanging on this idea that Joe Biden is old and doddery.
Frail and a cognitive mess. And I would say in the last 3+ years, he has deteriorated greatly. I want to play a montage of the president. Take a look.
I guess I should clear my mind here a little bit and not say what I'm really thinking.
Okay, by the way, these are hiding context. These are moments when he's asked a particularly difficult question that entail both talking points they can't talk about and a moving set of details at the moment. That moment right there was had to do, I think, with the Hamas prisoner, like the hostage exchange and that kind of stuff. And they're in the middle of negotiating this stuff. So he's like, and then or it might have been the one about Trump or whatever. But the point is, he's like, I don't want to swear. Is the gag like? My first instinct is to get real fucking Irish real quick.
There's some movement. There's been a response from
yeah, this was in the middle of the Hamas stuff.
From the opposition, but yes, I'm sorry, from Hamas. I think that, as you know, initially the president of Mexico, Sisi, did not want to open up the gate.
When I said, we pushed all these programs, I said I'm going to be a president of everybody, whether you live in a red state or a green state.
Red state, green state, and President el-Sisi of Mexico.
Well, from a climate standpoint,
I would be Egypt the last time I checked. Mr. President,
Mr. President, what's the name of the guy that really likes you in Hungary?
what is your reaction to that? 86% of the American people believe he is too old to take on what is the hardest job in the world.
It's interesting, though, all those folks that think he's too old to do the job. Notice that there's not a he's morally corrupt or stupid or vengeful or reactionary. And that's not the issue they have with him. They might think he's too slow on the uptake to deal with something. That's the age issue. But for the record, none of it are like the character defects that Trump has. And also, I don't suppose Sean Hannity is going to play a series of Trump statements at some point, do we think?
Don't touch my hands because they're dirty.
Do things with his tongue you wouldn't believe it. Purge the anti-Semitism and pro-terrorism. What you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Free health care for illegal... look, action replays in magnified fortune.
Mm-hmm. Any of that
Christopher Columbus. Christopher. Huh? Michigan gave us Motown. Gave us Motown. Gave us the Mustang.
Mm-hmm. That you're not gonna play a montage of that, are you, Sean?
Well, I hate to hear when they use the word old, because I don't believe it's old. I know people that are 87, 88. I know people that are 90 in the 90s.
I know people 99.
I mean, Bernie Marcus as an example. He's 95. There are people that are just as sharp, it seems to me, just as sharp as they ever were. There's something, I guess, wrong. I don't want to, I feel I'm at a conflict when you ask me that question, because
I'm losing my mind. And what was the question?
We're opponents, and I don't know. It's a tough question to answer.
Is it? Is it?
Here I am like an idiot.
I was a private business people.
Even brought a safecracker.
Mm-hmm.
I've been involved in the two greatest scams in American history.
Why would it be hard?
We're going to be appointing very pro-crime judges.
Why would it be difficult?
The Burmese executives. So these Burmese, they say, pronounce it Burmese.
Yeah. Why would it be difficult?
Here I am like an idiot.
It's easy, the answer, but I don't like doing it. He's got some difficulty, but it's not the age, because I know a lot of people that are much older than him that are 100% sharp, and I think most people agree with that.
100% sharp.
I don't believe he'd be capable of sitting down to do an interview like this. It'd be when I debated Gavin Newsom, I said, your problem is the guy that you are bragging about could not have this exchange.
Yeah, he could not do this interview. He couldn't do it.
Well, here's the thing. Also, he wouldn't sit down with Sean Hannity because Sean Hannity is a hostile asshole who's pumping for this guy. So not exactly a real interview. Secondly, I'm not looking for a guy who's necessarily great at speeches or necessarily great at interviews. I like the guy's decision-making and his ability to get shit done. Fuck me, but as a human being and as an American, I'm not looking for a messiah. I'm looking for a leader. And the leader isn't, I don't need an emotional leader or a spiritual leader. I don't need somebody to make my fucking heart swell by doing stuff. I need him to lead in getting shit done. And he does. He's competent. It's kind of amazing. There's almost a trade-off between somebody who is a good orator or who can lead people in that regard and people who actually can work the fucking phones and get a goddamn bill passed. Because this dude was bragging about the size of his rallies. So was Sean Hannity's. Sean Hannity. They were like on and on and on about that shit. And yet when it came to trying to get an infrastructure bill passed, he couldn't fucking do it. The only way he got the tax cut passed that he had was because it was already on Mitch McConnell's desk and all he had to do was fucking sign it once they passed it. It wasn't even his fucking idea. Don't get me started on the goddamn CHIPS Act.
An interview where you ask even a few questions. And I said this morning, I say it loud and clear, you should take a cognitive test. A president should take a cognitive. Now, they say that's unconstitutional. For whatever reason, it's unconstitutional. But I took 2 of them, and...
Okay, real quick. The type of cognitive test he took, that whole person, woman, man, camera, TV shit, remember that? Okay. The 5 words they ask you to remember that are in, all 5 words have to be in different categories. So one would be like you could say man as the first one, but the next one would have to be an animal. The third thing would have to be a vehicle. The fourth thing would have to be a building. The fifth thing would have to be I don't know, a continent, right? Okay, and so they would ask you, and they have to be different. They're never the same category. Look up the test, the one that he actually took. They're never the same category. And yet, when he talks about it, person, woman, man, camera, TV. Person, woman, and man are in one category. They're the same fucking thing. Men and women are persons. It's about human beings. Same 3 fucking categories, right? Same category, 3 items. And then camera, TV, also in the same fucking category. They're both AV elements. They're too close. That's not what was on his goddamn test. Even when he recited it, he was wrong about it entirely. There would never be a situation where you take that kind of cognitive test and they ask you for 3 items in one category and 2 items in a second one. Unless, I guess technically speaking, unless they were trying to help you and they were like, he likes these 2. He could, basically that should be easy. If we ask him about a bunch of different shit, he'll get all over the place. So if we just give him 2 categories and he can stay within them and I can wink at him, it will stay there. But that's true. Just for the record. It was whatever the fuck his test was, it was not. The answer was not person, woman, man, camera, TV. It wasn't. That's not how it works.
I aced both of them. I'm
No, you didn't.
very proud to say, meaning I got it all right. And then,
Oh, is that just in case Hannity doesn't know what aced means?
they're not, Ronnie Jackson did one. They're not that easy. You know, they show
Oh, dear.
you the first ones are pretty easy. And then you get into the middle category. Then you get to the end questions. Very few people could answer those questions.
No, they're not. This is the kind of shit they ask you if you've been hit in the head with a shovel or you wake up from a fucking coma. What are you talking about? This is not an IQ test, dipshit. It's a cognitive test. It's pretty simple. As a matter of fact, they keep it simple so that they don't demoralize elderly people. I'm not kidding. Some of the questions are easy strictly so that people, like older people, are like, I'm losing it. I'm starting to worry. Don't worry so much because it can create a downward spiral. They're easy on purpose.
They're actually very tough.
I've seen the test.
But I think
I've seen the test. You mean the one with the picture of the elephant? What were you doing, Sean? Flipping through a copy of highlights for kids?
it's important that there be some form. We have this man negotiating nuclear weapons with Putin and with
No, he's not. Okay, first of all, nuclear treaties. Let's just start there. Nobody's negotiating nuclear weapons. They're not arguing design points. What the fuck is that? He says this a bunch of times too. No one's negotiating nuclear weapons. You're negotiating nuclear treaties or nuclear arms treaties or non-proliferation treaties, which is really what you should fucking say. All right, maybe am I nitpicking? But seriously, we're talking about a cognitive test, and this motherfucker thinks Joe Biden is negotiating nuclear arms.
We have this man negotiating nuclear weapons with Putin and with
You know what? I made it actually accidentally better. I said arms instead of weapons.
President Xi, and he has no idea what's going on.
Why don't you tell him? You talked to him about it, right? Obviously. You talked to him about it, right? You mentioned it. You had a conversation with Xi Jinping. You were close with Putin. You guys talked nuclear weapons. What pointers would you give him about it? Oh, I'm sorry. You didn't actually discuss any of this shit with either one of them, or when you did, you had a fist up your ass.
And he can't find his way off a platform when he's speaking. You have 5 stairs, and he ends up walking into a wall.
By the way, that's how you know Trump is afraid he's going to walk into a wall. One of his current panic points is you can tell he kind of grinds on that thing where, remember when George Bush was leaving a stage and the door was locked and he went like that, which was, in that moment, that's how you save yourself. That's it. Just say it for the record. That's how you save yourself, is you make a stupid face and you go, oh, look at me, I'm a dumbass. You don't go, this door was open a while ago. I was just checking to make sure it was locked.
Whenever I imitate him, they say Trump had a hard time getting off a platform. I do, every once in a while, I'll do things out of sarcasm because I love sarcasm, but...
Yes, it's what idiots have instead of a sense of humor.
Politically, it never works.
Also...
Because
what the fuck do you mean sarcasm? What are you being sarcastic about? Okay, first of all, imitating someone who's doddering and walking around like this or whatever, that's not sarcasm. It's physical comedy, is it, or an attempt at it, but it's not fucking sarcasm. It's just fucking weird. The other thing is juxtaposing someone else's name on purpose, especially without context, where you're saying, where he says Obama and when he means Biden and he tries to pretend he really meant to say Obama the whole time without going, or the real president, Barack Hussein Obama, here I am. You guys think I'm competing against Biden. I'm really, in a campaign against Obama. You'd say it, you'd set up the gag. And then throughout the speech, you could keep referring to it. But if you just do it apropos of fucking nothing in the middle of it, and then move on as if it never happened, people know you fucking flubbed. Sarcasm will not buy your way out of that.
It's turning around on you. But I'll tell you what.
I'd like to remind everyone also that Sean Hannity was asking him about Joe Biden's cognitive ability, and he just bragged about 2 cognitive exams that he took that are, again, a 3rd grader could take. And his big... He just starts to ramble into this area where Sean Hannity's going, fuck, all you had to do was say, yeah, he's not what he used to be. Anyways, but I think what's important for America is turn into policy.
It's not an age thing, but something's going on. And we can't take a chance. This is the most dangerous time in the history of the world. We have an incompetent president. Now,
is this the most dangerous time in the history of our war or our world?
This is the most dangerous time in the history of the world. We have an incompetent...
Of a war. Our world, a war. This is what we would call phonemic paraphasia, which is a phrase we've all gotten to learn because of this dumb motherfucker, where he swaps words that sound vaguely alike all the time and just either doesn't notice or notices but can't fix it and just moves on.
President. Now, I used to treat him, and you know that. I called you. I said, you should take it easy on him.
By the way,
I used to call you.
This is a true story. You thought I was being too hard on him, and I was making too light of it. You told me.
When I got indicted, because nobody thought that was going to happen, including the fake news on the left.
Right. But they didn't think it wasn't going to happen because it shouldn't happen. They didn't think it was going to happen because it should happen, and what the fuck?
He said they'll never be indicted. Like on the January 6th, they went right up until the end. They'll never be indicted. You can't indict him on that. I made the beautiful speech that was actually a very nice speech. I said...
Uh-huh. That one where you're going to walk down there peacefully and patriotically, but if Mike Pence doesn't have the strength to do the right thing, you're going to have to be strong or we won't have a country left. That whole, basically, don't fight until you see the whites of their eyes speech.
Wonderful things on then Twitter, now Truth, because Truth is better than anything, in my opinion, but everybody has to go on Truth.
Did I read that you might make $4 billion?
Well, I'm not going to make. I mean, I own something that became very valuable. Truth has really become sort of the voice of America, the real voice of America.
Yeah, you know how you can tell is you can buy those Trump catheters on there or those Trump gold coins that are, obviously just gold plated, but still they're one of a kind, and there's only going to be a few of them made, so you better buy them now, or they're going to run out. Or Trump, what's it, insurance, which he has nothing to do with and isn't actually insurance. It's perfect. I think the ads on, well, shit. Should we just grab some real quick? Hold on. While we're at it, and by the way, hi chat room, real quick. I just want to see if I can, hold Truth Social. Open this guy up right here. And then we go to... Let's see, where's his... I have to go straight to his account, because it'll send me to the sign up page. There it is. Yeah, but yeah, there you go. Go back to here. Go back to the thing. Okay, there we go. I'll show you. Let's see. Here's a truth ad. See if one of them comes up. That's good. The money's really flowing in. Truth ad, sponsored truth. It's great. Looks good. There's Orban. Trump needs your vote today. Find your vote. Okay, that's the campaigns. That says, why are the ads? I have ad blocker on. That's why. Shit. Okay, hold on. Copy. Then I got to go up here, and I have to open another page over here, and then I'll do this, and then I'll paste it into here. Like trying to look at the actual ads, and the only thing I like, I can't actually see them because it's. There you go. MAGA. I don't even know what the fuck that is. Do we dare? Eagle Pass, Texas.
Every day, Joe Biden is giving aid and comfort to the foreign enemies of the United States.
The United States. And he waves at him.
3 years ago, we were more respected than ever before, and now they have no respect for us whatsoever.
Who, the cartels?
Day one of my administration.
Yeah, he's waving. Why are you showing him waving at the people? He's waving at like the Mexican army and the cartel guys. While no one is crossing the border.
I will terminate every open border policy of the Biden administration, and we will begin the...
So do they think if they turn the music up really loud, I don't know, if they turn up really loud, he doesn't sound like he's slurring as much, or... All right, maybe the ads are just down. Shit. I thought it was because I had ad blocker on, but apparently not. Look at this. Information. What's this? Why am I seeing this ad? I'm not seeing this ad. What the fuck? Yeah, see all this his shit. What's this? Truth ads. What's this? There you go. Truth. No posts here. Shit, are they all down or something? That's fucking hilarious. I love it. High quality, right about the time. I guess they're ready to make some real money, eh, chat room? Good Lord. Okay, back to where we were.
And it's what I use exclusively, and it's doing...
Because you're contracted to, dumb fuck.
Great.
And it's not. He also put exclusive interview with former President Trump. Well, that's true. They actually said it. Also, he legally has to use Truth Social only, but he also posts everything he does on his Telegram channel. For I suppose because Putin wants to read it, but doesn't want to look at the fucking video posts.
But when you take a look at all
on Truth Social,
all of the things that are going on in this world now,
all of them, that's going to be exhausting.
We need a man who's super competent. We need a man that can do it. He doesn't have a clue. When they indicted me, I said, now I can go after him because.
So you basically let me get this straight. After the election, you could have had a deal with the Iranians to get rid of their nuclear weapons within 2 weeks, but you said, fuck it. If I'm not going to win the election, I hope everybody here dies in a nuclear war. And so you blew off the idea, even though you were president for another couple months, you blew off the idea of doing your fucking job so that Iran could get a nuclear weapon. And then after this, you were like, Joe Biden is totally incompetent, and he's dangerous, and he's going to get us into World War IX, and it's scary, and it's because he's got this cognitive ability. But I'm not going to bring it up because I think it's not nice, or I don't know. At some point, you're going to take it personally or some shit like that. But now that he's indicted me, now I'll warn America about him as a danger cognitively. Get the fuck out of here.
This is what he did, and he indicted me 4 times.
He didn't indict you at all.
You could take the worst criminals in the world, they haven't.
Oh dear.
Been indicted 4 times.
Well, That's because most of them didn't go on multi-state crime sprees. They were kind of localized. They only had to do one indictment for all 9 victims.
And I got indicted over nonsense, over pure nonsense, that the radical left said there's no way he's going to be in, like the thing in Manhattan. And why didn't they do it years ago? They should.
Jesus Christ. I would like to remind everybody, this started with Hannity asking him about his cognitive ability, about Biden's cognitive ability, and him bragging that he passed a cognitive test, and now he's like, and then they fucking indicts me, and then like they have these people coming in, and I don't even know what's going on. Like, just like, psst, wrap it up.
Should have done this years ago. They shouldn't have done it now right in the middle of an election. I don't even think if you look at DOJ, the regulation, rules and regulation, they don't even have the right to be doing it now. But they
apparently they do.
They did it to interfere with the election. And when he did that, I said, now I can say it. Joe Biden is the most incompetent president we've ever had. He's the worst president we've ever had.
And you said that before.
He is a true threat to democracy because he's weaponized the FBI and the DOJ to go get.
Okay, by threat to democracy, he means threat to him.
Get his political opponent and many other people.
Yeah, many other people. I mean, most of them, you know, lawbreakers, but
Christians. He's really after the Catholics. I don't know what's going on with the Catholics, but for some reason, there's something happening with the Catholics.
I don't know. I hear Catholics. I don't know. He is a Catholic, you dumb motherfucker. I don't know, the Christians. I mean, I'm not one of these people. Like, I got to point out the fact that he says Christians as an externalized label. You know, in this situation, if you were really trying to turn inwards, and a bunch of other right-wingers do, they go, as a Christian, I'm offended the way he's attacking Christians, and you know, I'm not a Catholic, but I have Catholic friends, and how there's, you know, like you would kind of incorporate yourself into it a little bit, but he's totally incapable of it. Meanwhile, Sean Hannity is sitting there like Sean Hannity is sitting there going, "Fuck, what did I do? Why the fuck did I do this?"
I mean, I don't know how they can possibly vote for a Democrat or for him, but he's weaponized government at a level that nobody's ever seen before outside of a third world country.
Let me ask you, you actually said something to me before we came on the air today.
So you guys chat, do you?
Because the left
I would love to, Boston Brian.
I say, oh, he's going to be seeking revenge and using the justice.
Oh, don't fucking try to bail him out again, asshole, because you didn't learn your lesson from the dictator shit last time? Are you just trying to bait him and going, fuck, yeah, absolutely, I'm going to revenge, I'll be vengeful on one day, just one day, and we'll just wipe out all of my enemies, and then I'll stop. Like, get the fuck out of here.
Barbara, I've talked at length at how you want to talk about the weaponization of justice. It is happening now in this country.
That's a real threat.
And
Totally. Yeah, it's true. It is a real threat to, I mean, I'm worried that I won't be able to, I don't know, cheat the government banks out of hundreds of millions of dollars. And if that's the case, then what hope do any of us have?
That is a real threat. And you gave a very interesting answer about the issue that, he would seek revenge. Recall what you just said to me?
Sean, he doesn't. I'm just going to tell you. You got to set him up a little better than that, dum-dum. Oi.
I use this, and I tell people this. My revenge is going to be success. We're going to make this country so successful. We're going to do it rapidly. We're going to bring energy way down. We're going to bring inflation way down. We're going to get prices down. You look at the cost of...
Yeah, how? I'll tell you how. You want to know how? First of all, he's not going to get energy way down. What he thinks he means is down to like, you know, $40 a barrel or some shit like that. We're well past that. The only way you can do that is through raising efficiency standards in the United States. He's not going to do that. Secondly, I got to say for the we'll see. Yeah. Essentially, he's just talking about like either crashing the economy by insisting that the Fed or forcing the Fed to lower interest rates to a ridiculous amount so he can borrow money to pump it into the economy, which is what he tried to do to bail himself out in 2020. But on top of that, you know, he's gonna, like, we're gonna sign another deal with China, get cheap shit flowing from there over here again, and fuck it, worrying about slave labor. We're gonna drop all of our concerns about slave labor everywhere, and therefore those standards will not be a method through ESG or any other way where investors can know whether a company is engaged in in anti-labor practices and that kind of stuff, or engages in the use of slave labor. We'll just knock that off. So stop looking. That kind of thing. And I guess, technically speaking, I guess he's going to undo all the CHIPS Act stuff that Biden put in place. That would be the only way you would do it. Basically, it's one of those things like being in a plane, everybody, you're the pilot of the plane, and you're like, look, the goal is to get it on the ground. How we get it on the ground doesn't matter. As long as it's on the ground, that's what he would do.
Food, you look at the cost of rent, you look at the cost of some of these things, it's just, really disables our country.
You said, I'd never do to...
It really disables the country. By the way, and this was not what he said to Hannity, and Hannity's going to tell him what he said. Dumb fuck. You asked him to repeat what he just said before the show about a particular talking point like you do with any other guest, and he couldn't fucking do it.
Things, it's just, really disables our country.
You said, I'd never do to them what they've done to me, that you...
See? He tried to bail him. He's doing it again. That's what I fucking say. He's trying to bail him out. He's like, you wouldn't be a dictator on day one, and you told me you wouldn't be vengeful towards them the way they are to you. Remember when you said that?
I'll let you pick it up.
I'll let you pick it up. Because he didn't remember it. He didn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And I would, God, please. All right, I don't want to put anything on it. I want to see what he actually answers, because my personal feeling is that when it comes out of his own mouth, he thinks it's cool and sounds magnanimous and like it makes him a big person. But when Sean Hannity says it, it sounds weak all of a sudden, right?
Be tough, and I will be fair, and I will be seeking to make America great again. It's an expression that we came up with. I think it's probably the greatest in the history of this country, maybe in the...
He's not going to do it. He's not saying it. Fucking Hannity tried to fucking T-ball this motherfucker out of the... Like, let's get rid of that whole vengeful talking point. It's screwing you up with women and independent voters. Nah, fuck that. MAGA, MAGA, MAGA.
The history of the world. MAGA, make America great again. And when I see him, we will stop MAGA. I said, does he have any idea what MAGA means? It means make America great again. He wants to stop MAGA. I want to make America great again. Our country's in big trouble right now. Look at what we're looking at right now. We're looking at walls and fences.
Yes, and what are you not looking at? What do you not see? No pun intended. Do you guys see any stampeding hordes of people? And by the way, I don't see a wall there. It's a bunch of stacked shipping containers. I don't even know what the fuck. Like, the wall's over here, dum-dum. Like, behind... All right, never mind. It's so stupid.
With me, they knew they weren't going to be invited in. They weren't... Lots of things weren't going to be happening. They're inviting millions of people into...
Okay, also, for the record, let's just put a pin in this. If you remove the number of people crossing in 2020, like, you leave out the fact that the number went down because of COVID, because we had more cases in the United States than they had in Mexico. Now, they may have had a same number or an equal number, but they certainly couldn't keep track of it the way we could. So we knew how many cases we had. Mexico didn't, but it looked like we had more cases, and that would be one of the reasons why people didn't want to come into the fucking country. If he continued on, if COVID hadn't happened, Trump's numbers of people crossing the border, actual human beings coming into the country, would have been almost identical to Biden's.
To our country. And the saddest part is a lot of the people that are being invited in, you don't want in your country. They're very dangerous people.
Let me...
So you are going to be vengeful towards your enemies, is what I'm hearing.
Ask you this. You put out on Truth a statement when the Alabama court came back with the issue of in vitro fertilization, IVF.
I did.
I would argue that 2022, a lot of people thought overturning Roe v. Wade would end up being a good thing.
Right.
We know what the Democrats are going to do. They're going to demagogue Republicans like they always do.
Hey, asshole. We don't even have to. You guys are showing yourselves to be demonic on this issue. You're tracking women's travel to make sure they don't leave the state. Yeah, it's a good point. I'm diving into this, and everybody in the chat's like, you don't even know what fucking IVF stands for.
They're racist, sexist, misogynist, homophobic, all that stuff. But more important, democracy in peril. They hate Donald Trump.
We don't hate Donald Trump as an abstract human being, like because of his there's annoying trait to him, but it's what he does that matters. That's what we hate. Now, your character is what you do, so that part is kind of an overlap, just for the record. It's like, it's true. I don't like what he does, therefore I don't like who he is. But it's not, I don't randomly pick, none of us are grinding on Mark Cuban, is my point. There's people who hate, I don't know, any random uber millionaire, Bill Gates or whatever, because they either have a fantasy about them being a violent monster, or the whole, like, Bill Gates is behind vaccines, all the QAnons who hate him. They have that reasoning behind it, but it's not based on anything real. And it's certainly not, like, I will take issue with the fact that Bill Gates hung out with Epstein, but I would argue that Epstein probably hung out with a bunch of those folks as cover. So we don't know. But if Bill Gates was out bragging about it and shit-talking victims, and if Bill Gates had taken a question at a fucking press conference and said he wished Ghislaine Maxwell well in prison, fuck's sake. Like, then you'd go, I fucking hate that guy. That'd be easy, right? People aren't, he likes to, and Hannity does this too, is that this is all like, Democrats like to attack successful people. They just don't like success. Like, I got news for you, motherfucker. There are a lot of successful people that aren't even on the fucking radar. Nobody even cares. And if you brought them up, you'd be like, all right, I don't know much about it. I don't care. This motherfucker can't run a charity in New York State because he ripped it off. His own fucking son stole from St. Jude's. Get the fuck out of here. It's not they hate your fucking name. It's what your name now represents.
January 6th, but then the issue of abortion. I think it played a very big part. They demagogued that issue in 2020.
No, they didn't. No, we didn't. Point of order, Mr. Chairman. We did not demagogue that issue. We pointed out that it was going to endanger women's lives, and it treated women as second-class citizens, because now they have to take that into account if they want to move from one state to another, and men fucking don't. As a man, I don't have to, if I got a job opportunity and I had to move to a state for that job, I wouldn't have to think twice about whether or not my healthcare needs would be fucking met, or whether I could make decisions about whether or not I was going to have a fucking kid at all. Women, on the other hand, now have to look at it and go, okay, I got a job offer, but if I move there, if I become pregnant before I'm ready, or my daughter gets pregnant because she's sexually assaulted or something like that happens, I'm going to have to fucking fly her out of the state, and the cops might arrest us for trying. And that's not us demonizing or demagoguing people. That's just fucking true. They fucking did it.
22 in the midterm, and I think it hurt Republicans.
You think?
You took a strong stand on IVF. Where are you on that, and what is your message to other candidates, and where are you on abortion?
So I saw the IVF, and a judge in Alabama made a very harsh decision. It was very, very tough. And I came out immediately, and I said, we want to help women. This is fertilization. They're having a hard time having a baby, to put it very simply. And they're helped by clinics and others.
Yeah, helped by clinics and others. Garbage men, fucking bait shop salesmen, F1 drivers, others, clinics and others.
And all of a sudden, it was stopped in Alabama, and I put out a very strong statement that we're totally in favor of it. I got a call from Katie Britt, a very wonderful young senator in Alabama, and she said friends of mine were coming up and, like, almost attacking her. They were so upset about it. And I said, what's the issue? What is it? Explain. What is it exactly?
Why should I give a fuck?
And we're talking about the IVF. And I said, we want that. We want people to help. We're on the side of women. And same thing on the abortion.
Okay, first of all, asshole. He doesn't even understand the premise of why this Alabama judge has this ridiculous hyper-biblical idea about that every fertilized egg is alive and must be carried to term. That's what this is talking about. And the idea that he's on the side of women is a fucking joke. Like, talk about sarcasm.
Abortion issue. The abortion issue. Now, I'm for the exceptions like Ronald Reagan was for the exceptions. And I think it's very important to be
mother's life.
Correct. Life of the mother. I think.
You're not going to say rape and incest or whatever? Why? Too close to home with your whole, like, if Ivanka, you know, like, what do you have in common with your daughter? I was going to say sex.
It's a very important thing, the exceptions. I also think that they are the...
What exceptions would those be? I mean, you heard him say life of the mother, so you said life of the mother, but what would be the exceptions? Why don't you just say them?
The radicals, because they will kill the baby in 8 months, 9 months, under Roe v. Wade.
Bullshit.
They had the right to kill the baby after birth. I mean, literally after birth in some...
No, not anywhere, not at all. Fuck off. Not even true. Just a lie. Garbage. Horseshit. Nonsense. Like, I don't know. Can we just stack those words? That is like, it's such a gross lie. And it also shows you his opinion of what, like, women, unless they're contained, what they will do.
Well, that was the governor of Virginia at the time.
That's right.
I was talking to your friend Gavin Newsom. I asked him 4 times in a row. I said, are there any limitations at all? He would not answer.
Yeah.
A lot of Democrats said that that no government official should ever get between a doctor and her patient. Okay, that means no exceptions, but Dobbs said 15 weeks.
Right.
That's just about a little over first trimester.
So more and more I'm hearing about 15 weeks.
Jesus Christ. He so doesn't want to say it because he knows he's going to lose a huge chunk of people. Here's the weird part. I was about to say pro-life. The anti-choice Trumpers, quite frankly, whatever he says, they're going to assume he's going to end abortion, period. That anything he says that where he even plays footsie with the idea of a reasonable limit or any of those kind of things, or even when he talks about the exceptions, they don't believe him. They think he's going to put the Amy Coney Barretts in there. The Amy Coney Barretts are purists about it, and that'll be that. And so he can lie all he fucking wants. If you're lying on, you know, for Jesus, it's not really a lie. That's that. So I don't even know why he plays footsie around this. If he just came flat out and said 16 weeks or whatever, because that's what he was saying was 16 weeks, because it's I don't know, 4 months. He was saying it's 4 months, which it isn't.
I haven't decided yet. Also, we got...
It's a big issue. You've been president once already. You put people on the Supreme Court specifically as heat-seeking missiles to destroy Roe and throw it back to the fucking states. And he's like, I haven't really made a decision yet. Are you out of your fucking mind?
It back to the states where it belongs. And by the way, a lot of states are taking very strong stances. Ohio voted.
15 states.
Alabama.
15 weeks.
Correct. I mean, a lot of states are taking very strong stances. You look at Kansas, Ohio.
He just said Ohio, so you said Ohio like he didn't.
And it's going to be the law within the state. And they have gone, you know, much different than a lot of people thought.
They have gone much different than a lot of people thought. No, they haven't. They're denying women their right to medical care. Exactly as we said they would.
But everybody on both sides said it has to be in the states. We did.
No, they haven't. No, they don't. And the idea that women would have to pick and choose what states they have equal rights in is fucked up.
A very good thing, a very big thing, a very important thing. Probably hurt the Republicans because a lot of Republicans really didn't know how to talk about it.
Well, why don't you talk about it, dum-dum? Tell them how to do it. Teach them.
But you remember this. Now it's in the states. A lot of states are taking a vote of their citizens and vote.
No, they're not. The Alabama IVF thing was from a fucking judge. That wasn't on the ballot, dum-dum.
Coming out, both.
Half of these motherfuckers were already in office when this came down, and they've been waiting to make these decisions all this time, and then they just fucking did it. And so now they're going to have a vote to undo it.
Ways, but large.
And a lot of them, and by the way, they are. And it's driving up Democratic voter turnout.
Actually, they're coming in with a certain number of weeks.
They're coming in with a certain number of weeks. Thank God this isn't an important issue, and thank God he's sharp as a fucking tack.
And the number 15 is mentioned. I haven't agreed to any number. I'm going to see. We want to take an issue that was very polarizing and get it settled and solved so everybody can be happy. But I will say,
there's no fucking way. There is no way the chunk of his followers that supported Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh being on the Supreme Court, they will only be happy with 0, none, never. It's not it was the law itself. Roe v. Wade's existence created the actual, the mitigatory place. Like it was literally, it created a kind of bumper window on what was legal. It didn't set an actual date, but states were able to operate within that or whatever. And there's a lot of arguments back and forth and little lawsuits, and they bumped at the edges of it. But overall, you couldn't get rid of the right entirely, but you could keep it within regions. That's what it did. And he fucking got rid of it. The same way he got rid of the cops program. By the way, 2 years before Kavanaugh kneeled on fucking George Floyd's neck, the program that the Obama-Biden administration put in so that it would make it easier for local police offices and sheriff's offices to get rid of bad cops, finally get rid of them, right? Without having all the difficulty they would have either with the union or with the pension issues and stuff. If somebody's bad on your force, you could get rid of them. And he was like, it's got Obama's name on it, fuck him, and he got rid of it. He also got rid of the pandemic response team. In 2 years, to the fucking day, practically, we get the George Floyd death and the riots afterwards and the fucking pandemic. Because he doesn't, and the same thing with Roe v. Wade. It's like, I don't know, we'll find some way of being, making everybody happy. Well, I got news for you. Everybody but the extremists were happy with Roe v. Wade in its form. Now, nobody is, and the fucking extremists now have the reins.
Say this, you look at the Democratic view, let's say the Democrats' view, that was a very radical view because they're willing to kill a baby in the 7th, 8th, 9th month.
Fuck you. No, we're not.
One thing, and you can look at polling all you want, when you get after a certain number of months, I mean, especially you get into 6, 7, 8, 9.
Yeah, those numbers go in that direction, sure.
And after birth,
that's emphatic.
Everybody doesn't want that to happen. I mean,
right. Everybody doesn't want that to happen. The only time this is coming up is when you have an ectopic pregnancy where the fucking baby itself is never going to live. Its fucking heart's outside of its body. Its brain is gelatin. Its bones are fused together. It's stuck to the uterus of the woman and fused literally with the cells so that if she pushes it out, she'll tear her own insides out. And that's the only time they're talking about these kind of decisions. And when the governor of Virginia said this, he was like, the only thing they have to deal with is how long will they keep trying to resuscitate a non-viable fetus at that point. This child's not going to live outside the womb. Once it's born, it's going to die. And the question you as parents have to go through is, how long do we keep it alive? That's the issue. That's not killing it after it's born, which is what he's talking about.
Almost everybody.
It was Northam who made that comment about, first the baby's born and then we'll take care of it, make it comfortable, and then the doctor and the mother will decide. All right. Hey, Sean Hannity here.
Yeah. Decide about how long to keep it alive because it's not viable. It's just gross. Just fucking, yeah. Sorry, somebody in here was saying, Hal, I had sadly, I have a dear friend who had this devastating choice. It was mother or baby, and the husband chose his wife. He's a moron? Why? Oh, I hope you're being sarcastic about that. I'm glad he chose his wife. Thanks, Ali Osher. No conversation between men on abortion unless that man is an obstetrician. Or it's his kid, I guess, right? Mrs. Wiggins. He should have some say in it, one would think. But even in this situation, I'm glad to have a conversation about it, quite frankly, because I'm on the side of women should have the right to do it. And if it's only women arguing for themselves, then there's an idea that that somehow the belief in women's rights is completely based on the sex of the person arguing it. And I don't think that's the case. As a man, I absolutely believe women should have the right to choose. I also don't think that women are having just like selective abortions for the fuck of it. And people who think that, obviously, it's its own special form of misogyny. Because that's what they're really telling you. They just think women are disgusting, right? They think women are, women are hysterical and they make, snap decisions about life and that kind of stuff. And they have no, like, compunction about, killing a baby or whatever. Like, that's their attitude towards women. Which, again, is yet another reason why they shouldn't be running the country. That's a sign of someone who should not be in charge of the rights of women. If you have that attitude about them, Jesus Christ. It's the same reason we don't want a racist president, right? Because if you have a racist president, they're like, well, yeah, we can only help that group or this group so much, or an anti-Semite, for example. How do we fix this? We keep voting for Democrats and don't let another Republican in the administration or in the Senate or anywhere else for decades. And you don't throw your fucking vote away. Because I got news for you. We can argue this shit all we want. And I'm disgusted by what he says. But let's be abundantly clear. Donald Trump in 2016 lost the popular vote by 3 million votes. 3 million more Americans voted for Hillary Clinton than did for Donald Trump. Okay? And by the way, we'll have similar numbers this time around. Where, Biden's going to trounce him by that, close to that number, probably 4 million, probably more so. But it was 75,000 alleged progressives, alleged liberals, alleged Democrats, progressives, I call them, on our side, who phoned in their vote, voted for Trump, or didn't vote for president at all because they were spoon-fed this horse shit that it's a toss-up, it doesn't really matter, doesn't really matter who's president, it's not going to really change anything, it never fucking does, Illuminati, establishment, deep state, blah-bitty fucking blah, it doesn't matter who's running things. And what did he do? This pussy-grabbing, second-generation rich kid who got, whose first experience of the Justice Department was being sued for not renting to black people, ended up being president of the United States because of people on our side of the aisle in states he should have never won. It's us. It's on us. We stood down. Because nationwide, he lost by 3 million votes. But in very particular areas, a bunch of people that supposedly believe the same thing we do, and certainly supposedly believe in the rights of women, went, fuck, I don't like Hillary. She's a warmonger, blah, blah, blah. I don't like her. She defended Bill or some shit. Like, that was enough. They were just like, blech. She's going to start a war. She's a warmonger. That's who she is. Donald Trump, maybe he'll come in and wreck the fucking world and we'll get what we deserve. That was it. They didn't think it was important, so they either phoned it in, voted for him, or didn't vote at all for president of the United States. They voted for other people, but they didn't vote for the president, and it allowed him to get the Electoral College. The Jill Stein crowd, right. The ever-burning Bernie bros, the fucking TYT crowd. That's who gave us Donald Trump as a president. And that act gave us Amy Coney Barrett and Kavanaugh on the Supreme Court, and that led us to losing Roe v. Wade. This shit, that's why it's not an emergency. An emergency is something that happens right here, right fucking now. And it needs an emergency solution. This was a long time fucking coming. We could see this shit way back when Pat Robertson ran. Right? That this was where the Republican Party was headed. That's why we had all these fucking litmus test conversations every goddamn time. Right? Every fucking time. We'd have this There shouldn't be a litmus test about this, but it's settled law, right? You believe it's settled law, right? That's the point. And everybody's like, yep, settled law. And most of the presidents, including Bush, ironically enough, put people in that while they were clearly pro-life and they clearly leaned that way, treated it as settled law. And then Donald Trump, the liar, broke that mold and brought in liars who lied under oath about it being settled law. And when it reached their doorstep in a planned way, because the right wing had always been trying to find a way to get these cases to the Supreme Court, when Donald Trump set it up, and that's why, like I said, they don't give a fuck what he says about abortion. They don't. They do not care. Because they know it's a lie. And they presume it's a lie for their side. That he's just pretending to be mitigatory, just to get elected. And then when he gets in there, he's going to do everything he can to eliminate abortion or the right to abortion for every woman regardless. They're assuming that. Yep. Sorry, somebody was like, what, it depends on which state you voted in. In California, it was already decided before I got to the election center. Same goes in the opposite in red states. Doesn't matter. No. If you're in a state that's already decided, you stack your vote with the mandate. And if you're in a red state, you eliminate this automatic right-wing mandate by showing up and putting your blue vote on the fucking scale. That's why it matters. As a matter of fact, in a red state, it matters more that Democrats show up. The more you think, my county's going to go this way, it becomes more important. Because it makes it so that they can't run a fucking Matt Gaetz or an MTG. They have to start considering for at least a little bit that the vote might eventually tick the other way if they go too far. Yeah. Sorry, somebody was jumping in there with we saw a break, and it was this. President Biden stuns MAGA world by announcing a jaw-dropping $42 million grassroots funding. Oh yeah, he made a shit ton of money, Alyosher. That's where don't look at the polls, look at the fun of them raising money, because Biden's raising a shit ton of money, and it's going to spread throughout the other Democratic races. And when it comes to get out the vote, they're going to have a machine in place. Trump has none, and he's still talking people out of fucking voting. Even his whole, like, we've got to swamp it shit, or slab it, that bullshit, even that, it is not going to drive his voters to the fucking polls.
We have to slab it.
Right. I was a TYT member for 3 years. I fell for the grift until the Tony Michaels podcast. I should sue TYT to get my money back. Well, sorry, I don't know that that's a possibility. It's the sucker's burden. We've all been there. We've all been there. It's okay. And I'm glad. Here's the thing. Most of that shit happens through the weaponization of empathy. Finding the good characteristics you have, the care that you have, the genuine, your belief in peace, your belief in helping the homeless, your belief in education, healthcare, all those kind of things. Taking that and weaponizing it in a way that basically builds your, like builds up your fervor to where you're just like overflowing with like anger. Why is nothing done? Why is nothing being done? And then pulls the rug out and go, well, that's because there's nobody there that's going to do anything anyways. And so it undermines your desire to vote. What's the fucking point? What's the fucking point? Right? That's what they do each time. And anybody who questions the value of your vote is not for any of the things you believe. Not really. If you care about homelessness, if you care about education, if you care about healthcare, all those things, you vote. You fucking vote. Anybody who says, it doesn't matter, it's 6 of one, half dozen of the lesser two evils. Remember that bullshit? Yeah. Anybody who's saying that doesn't give a shit about the homeless, doesn't give a fuck about women's rights, doesn't care about universal health care, doesn't care about education being affordable, doesn't care about getting rid of people's student debt, none of that stuff. If they're walking you away from voting between the two binary choices that you have that will actually make a fucking difference, if they're trying to walk you anywhere else They don't actually give a fuck about what you believe in. They don't. They're actively undermining it. Other than that, I have no opinion. All right, let's jump into our next clip. Otherwise, I will just, I mean, you guys know this is a rant I can get on and stay on forever.